Congressman Pfluger joins us now on KWEL. And Congressman, these are exciting times all around the country, all around the world, and certainly where you are in Washington. And I can't help but think, and we've talked about this before, what an honor it must be to be one of, quite frankly, not all that many people that get to do what you do.
Well, Craig, good morning. It is a absolutely gorgeous morning here in West Texas. I am up and on the road, just got back last night, and it is an honor. It is a huge honor to be able to go to Washington, D.C., to represent the best district in the entire country, a district that spans all the way from which is where I'm headed today, to Killeen for a student leadership conference, but hardworking, patriotic, amazing people, farmers and ranchers, military professionals, obviously the heart and soul of the oil and gas industry in the Permian Basin. So thanks for saying that. I feel that way every single time that I go to D.C. and get to vote.
We have a text here from Lydia, who went to see you. Now, we were a little confused. Lydia Frescas went to see you in D.C., and we couldn't figure out if she had went to see Jelly Roll, the singer, or Alan Jackson. Finally figured out it was you. But she mentioned about you taking part in the National Victim Rights Week, and so she was very honored to be able to get to see you and talk to you, and she just wanted to say, hey.
Well, that's very kind. We have a lot of constituents that are part of different groups and go to Washington to make sure their voice is heard. Remember when Nancy Pelosi didn't let people come into the Capitol under the guise of COVID. Now it's open. Now people can come up. So, Lydia, thank you, and thank you for what you do.
All right. Congressman, there's a million things. We got to go rapid pace here. The big, beautiful bill, the budget, where do we stand? Is this thing going to pass? I know that Speaker Johnson is pretty confident about it. What do you think?
Well, this is the focus. This is the Super Bowl when it comes to legislation. We're talking about the most important bill that we will pass in 30 or 40 years. And yes, I am confident it will. I will go back on Tuesday morning, early Tuesday morning. The committees have been busy crafting this bill. I sit on the Homeland Committee and the Energy and Commerce Committee. The Homeland Committee has already done their work. And that part of the legislation is to secure our border. It's to spend some money to make sure we have the right Customs and Border Protection people, the right technology to build the wall, to do the things we need to protect our country. On the energy and commerce side, we're also going to start back the leasing sales. Just the mere fact that Biden shut those down, both onshore and offshore, illegally, unconstitutionally, we're going to start those back up. We're going to also make it easier for professionals in the oil and gas industry to do the things that they need to do by cutting regulations and getting to a point where you can build the pipelines and you can do the infrastructure. And then, importantly, and this is the one where Democrats are just absolutely lying through their teeth, health care. Craig, you would be astonished to know that Medicaid, which was designed to help children, to help those who are disabled, to help pregnant women. And it does a really good job of that in Texas, and those benefits are going to be protected for the people that deserve it here in Texas. But in other states, they expanded that to able-bodied adults. They expanded that to 35, 40, 50-year-old people who could be working but instead are not. And we're going to make sure that those folks can get a better plan by requiring them to do 20 hours of work a week, where we will garner a tremendous amount of savings. So all in all, when we pass this bill, we're going to extend the tax cuts. We're going to preserve and protect our Medicaid system. We're going to secure the border. We're going to spend some money on the military. But we have to make sure that it is deficit reducing to save some money and to finally quit the reckless addiction to spending that Washington has. So I'm sorry to go on a little bit long on that. But this is what we're doing last week, this week, and next week, and we will get this done.
Well, it's very important. The people on the left, your esteemed colleagues on the left keep telling us they're going to cut Medicaid. Oh, how can these nasty, evil Republicans cut Medicaid? Well, cut spending and waste in Medicaid is certainly what is something we want, but they're not cutting benefits. We all know that, but they keep lying about it.
They keep lying about it. This is their only talking point. They can't stand President Trump because he has disrupted a system that was rigged to spend more money, that was rigged to not provide benefits to people, but to keep them hooked in. I mean, you know, when you talk to people, they really don't want a handout. They want a hand up, and we're going to get back to that. We're not going to fix everything, but we're going to get back to that mentality. And it's unbelievable how big the government got in a period of 4 years under Joe Biden, and we're going to make a really good dent in that bloated government. And also the rescissions that the White House has looked at through DOJ, we're going to start codifying those. We're going to start taking those savings in. That's not necessarily part of the one big beautiful bill. It's an ongoing effort. But you're right. They lie through their teeth to say, you know, how terrible Republicans are when in fact we're actually preserving the program for the people that need it.
Not to mention they always talk about how a policeman or two was killed during the January 6th riots and all of that. That, of course, did not happen. But they always bring that up, too, which, of course, it didn't happen. Well, we are with Congressman August Pfluger. By the way, I see you voted to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Thank you.
Well, I did, and, you know, there was a lot of enthusiasm around there, and some people say, well, I can't believe you Republicans are wasting your time with things like this. Let me make this point here. What President Trump is looking at throughout the world are strategic places like the Panama Canal that has been taken over, and I have been down there. I've been to the Panama Canal. I've taken congressional travel there to meet with their leadership, to meet with their president, to talk about the influence of the Chinese Communist Party. So whether it's the Gulf of America, the Panama Canal, or anywhere else in the world, he wants to reduce the power of the Chinese Communist Party, and he's doing that through these strategic locations. And you might think a renaming doesn't have anything to do with that. It does. It absolutely has everything to do with that. And we're focused on increasing the power and the influence of the United States of America.
It is 17 away from 8 now on KWEL AM 1070 and FM 107.1. The time is brought to you by Get Around Brown's Barbecue, and they are serving really great barbecue. Breakfast burritos right now, 4200 West Illinois, Suite 260. I trust you'll go by and see them and enjoy some really, really good food. Congressman, do you still have the intern program going on, or is that all filled up?
Well, we do have an intern program. We have been blessed to have interns from all over the state of Texas universities. I mean, many of these kids originate from this district and then go off to universities. It's competitive. We've gone through in the mid-spring time to set the table for the interns that are coming in. But I would encourage people, if you have a kid that is interested in this, go to our website. If you have a child that's interested in a service academy, go to our website, pfluger.house.gov. There's a lot of really neat opportunities. If you're coming to Washington, D.C., just like Lydia wrote in, please come see me. Come say hi. We can set that up for you. And if you need help with something, Craig, this is a public service announcement, whether it's the VA, Social Security, or any sort of government agency that's frustrating, please go to our website, pfluger.house.gov. All the phone numbers are on the website, and you can quickly make a phone call or send an email.
Congressman August Pfluger on KWEL. Congressman, we'll say hi to a caller. Welcome into the broadcast on KWEL. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Congressman Pfluger, I'm a veteran. Do you remember when the 4 service members who transitioned went up before the Senate talking about how wonderful it was that the government paid for their transitions?
I do remember this.
Okay.
Not too long ago. It's hard to believe that happened.
Yes, sir. The one that represented the Marine Corps, I served with that lunatic. A while back, I got into it with him on Facebook because you guys need to look into this. He's teaching people how to fill out Medicaid paperwork to pay for their transitions. And I told him Medicaid is not for that, and he got mad at me, which I don't care.
Well, we will definitely look into that. You're right. It's not for that. It's also not for abortion services. So this one big, beautiful bill will make sure that we continue to prevent abortions being paid for by taxpayer money. And let's just get back to common sense. Adults that want to make their own decisions, fine, but the government doesn't need to pay for that, nor do taxpayers need to fund that.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to let you know about that. I appreciate everything you do.
All right, thank you for the call. Congressman Pfluger, in addition, he is a full bird colonel and on the radio with us on KWEL. And we do have open mic time here at 620-8700. Congressman, your thoughts on public broadcasting?
Well, I think you hear what President Trump has said. Look, in a perfect world, this should have been something that was able to get out factual information and not have this bias towards it. Unfortunately, we've seen just the opposite. We've seen that these channels and these venues and various media outlets have been used to distribute a very one-sided message, a politically charged message. So we've got to get back to a balanced approach. And I think that Congress is taking this seriously because we know that educational channels are important, but we also don't want our kids being brainwashed, Craig, and that's really the point of it. So I think you're going to see a decrease in funding until we can get that right, and hopefully we can get back in balance on that.
And welcome into the broadcast. You're on the morning show next with Congressman August Pfluger on KWEL and FM.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming on.
Morning.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Hey, just a quick question, and I'll hang up and listen. In regards to what President Trump calls the green new scam, in which I agree that it is, it seems like that there's a handful of companies specifically. I know Oxy and Exxon. I know Oxy has been lobbying big time about the carbon capture, and it seems to be allowed to do some of that in Texas. And it sounds like that our tax dollars that Biden approved are still going to fund that, and I thought Trump was going to take that away. Can you clarify, is that something that is still going to go forward, or is it truly going to be removed? And I'll hang up and listen.
All right, thanks for that. And Congressman will kind of set this up. Wayne Christian, Texas Railroad Commissioner Wayne Christian, is with us once a week. We talk to him, and he's brought this up that the Trump administration will be putting in some money for this capture of CO2.
Well, it's a great question, and the caller is right, and I didn't catch his name, but right to ask the question about where our tax dollars are going and what are they subsidizing. And the Green New Scam tripled, quadrupled with regards to carbon capture and sequestration. That actually was not a Biden. That actually started before Biden got there. What Biden did was he took that program, doubled it, quadrupled it. Like many others, these tax credits and subsidies that have gone to wind and solar. So there probably will be, you've got the axe approach where everything goes, and you've got don't do anything. Well, it's probably going to fall somewhere in the middle, where many of these programs, and I can't speak to exactly which ones because this is going to happen on the Ways and Means Committee, but many of these programs will start to decrease and reach a sunset. I can tell you for sure in the Energy and Commerce Committee that we are going to get rid of the EV mandate. There will not be an electric vehicle mandate. You can drive whatever car you want. If you want to buy an EV, you can. And we're going to work with the tax committee on that. And the same thing for wind and solar, which is if they can compete, then compete. But you get into the more nuanced series, 45 series of tax credits, and they probably will have a little bit more of a surgical approach to them. I think there is some data to suggest that some of these can help us with enhanced oil recovery. We're looking at that. We want to make sure we do it correctly. My interest is making sure that our energy industry in the Permian Basin and throughout the United States of America can produce the needed supply for everything we need, including electricity, including, the petrochemicals and all the things that we need. So great question, very nuanced, and we're working hard to repeal everything we can that has not added to our energy dominance picture.
And we're 10 away from 8 now on KWEL 1070 and FM 107.1. Congressman August Pfluger is with us. This lawfare against President Trump is just ridiculous. And Keith Stretcher, former city attorney, and he's been on the bench and he's done a lot of things, not Supreme Court, but he's done Court of Appeals. Anyway, really sharp. And he said all of the stuff that's going on right now is going to have to end up with the U.S. Supreme Court. Would you agree with that?
You know, I think some of it will. One of the roles of Congress is to tell the courts what their jurisdiction is. It's not unprecedented to reorder the courts, federal courts throughout the country. This is why we passed legislation a couple of weeks ago to not allow just one district court to overturn a presidential executive order, but that they would have to corroborate with three, that they would have to have consenting opinions from three different courts throughout the country to raise that standard, to raise the bar. But I would say that the lawfare is so bad politically that Congress does need to act to reorder the jurisdiction and the things that they're looking at and how they do that. That is the role of Congress. When you look at the Constitution, we're certainly worried about it.
Congressman, we are just plumb out of time. We've got to leave it at that. Colonel Pfluger, Congressman Pfluger, representing District 11. And thank you much for your time. We appreciate it. God bless.
Well, God bless, Craig. Thank you. I'm, again, driving to Killeen, Texas today, where you're looking at a little bit of rain-soaked cotton fields and just really blessed to have received some rain this week. But thank you for the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. to represent you. We are voting on some of the most monumental pieces of legislation that will set our economy up for success for years to come. And I appreciate everyone's confidence and the honor to go do that. God bless this great district that I get to represent and the United States of America.
All right. Thank you much. And we will talk again.